I'm sure all of you invest through some app, Binance, Coinbase, FTX, whatever it could be. What if you could own a piece of that? Right? What if you could be, let's say, you could own a piece of Binance? Would that make you happy? Yes, of course, because Binance is doing well, except of course for the chain that stopped today. Swissborg is one such app that is helping people buy and sell crypto, and they have a host of other services like staking and certain theme based asset allocations and so on. And they are doing pretty well on that front. There is another interesting thing that they have released a token, right, for their Swissborg app, and that's something that I'm pretty interested in, and what I'll be analyzing in today's video. So we'll see if at the end of this you would like to have this trading app as part of your portfolio, right? So I'll talk about what's great, what are my concerns, what are the risks, and what should you really be doing. Let's start with what's great. Well, what's great is that they are solving a real problem, right? So the problem is that you have to have a means to buy and sell cryptos, especially through fiat. And although this problem is solved by hundreds of apps around the world, right, from the likes of Binance and FTX to smaller exchanges around the world, there are several people solving this problem. It's still a real world problem that they're trying to solve. What seemed great for me is that their revenue model seemed fair. Right? If you go down to their white paper, you'll see that it's a very traditional revenue model of collecting management performance fee and fee on every trade and so on. So that's a fair revenue model. They know where the money is coming from. What exactly is the token here, right? Well, there's a CHSB token, which is basically a loyalty program, right? So it creates a very clever demand for this. There's a very clever demand lever for the CHSB token. What exactly is that? Let's try and understand that. So the fact that there are so many apps, right? So many, right, from Binance to whatnot, who are already solving this real world problem, they needed a way to keep people engaged. So there was no point of creating another app that could help you buy and sell cryptos, because there are several already. So what they probably came up with is the CHSB token, used in a very unique way to ensure that people are loyal to it. So how do they use it? Well, if you own CHSB and if you stake CHSB, depending on how much of these tokens you stake, you unlock certain benefits to get yourself into different levels of the premium membership. What exactly are those? Well, these are the plans. You have a standard plan where staking is 0, which is open for every customer. But as you go up, it starts with a minimum of 500 CHSB and all the way up to 50,000 CHSB, and you get different levels for that. The benefits are varying. Right? For instance, your yield boost goes up for, like, let's say about 2x if you have staked about 50,000 CHSB. Right? Your exchange fee drops significantly, right, from 1% for a normal user to 0.25% for somebody who has staked CHSB. This is a very lucrative thing for traders, especially who have a lot of revenue going out in the form of the exchange fee that they are paying. So I can see a lot of traders who would want to stake, let's say, about 50,000 CHSB and get this additional benefit. So that's what they're really trying to capitalize. Right? They are trying to make this token nothing but an amazing loyalty program. And the demand for the token will essentially come in from those people who want to take advantage of these benefits. Right? Now, let's say you're somebody who just wants a 2x on yield boost, then you might not even go for 50,000 CHSB. You might just go for the penultimate plan, the generation plan, which is like 20,000 CHSB. So it totally depends on who you as an end user are, but that's pretty much where I see demand coming in from. Now, if you look at the performance metrics, they are saying that total trade volume of every week is about 45 million. There are about 37,000 people who have subscribed, who are essentially premium users. That means they must have staked at least 500 CHSB. Right? That's the bare minimum. And I believe if you just apply Pareto principle, at least, like, let's say 60 to 80% would have staked 500. Maybe a minuscule 1 or 2% would have staked the 50,000. That's my guess. We don't have the exact breakup, but that's my guess. what they are saying is that about 27% or close to 28% of the circulating supply of CHSB has been staked. Right, that is actually enormous. Right, if you look at this, 27% being staked, which means that about a fourth of this crypto is already out of circulation, and as more and more users come in, certainly the demand for this crypto will rise up, because if you stake, right, you have to stake that CHSB token and hold it for that period that you want those benefits. And if you're somebody who's a regular user, right, you will continue to stake that till the time you are a user. So that's a great way to actually keep people hooked. And that's one great way to, as more users come in, the CHSB token value will certainly increase. So it's a very, very, very clever way of using the CHSB token. And 29% is a lot, by the way. Then the next thing, right, it's not all hunky-dory. I have a few concerns. The first one is, of course, that it is very easy to replicate. Right? This is not a great strategy that others can't replicate. Any exchange can easily do it. Most exchanges already have a token, so they can easily replicate. In fact, most exchanges do give you benefits for similar benefits for holding the token, but this level of this percentage of circulating supply that's been staked, that is something that I've not seen before. That's where the difference is. The second one is the burn mechanism. Right, so they have a burn mechanism to protect the price. Now, wherever there is a burn mechanism, right, then I am very cautious of such a token, because your price of a token is dependent on the demand and supply. Right, if supply outstrips demand, then the price falls. If demand outstrips supply, then the price rises. As simple as that. Right, it's basic economics. Most cryptos, for instance, if you take Bitcoin, right, we saw as the demand increased, right, and as the supply sharply reduced, we saw the price increase. Right, that's the natural way to go ahead. A lot of cryptos, for instance Shiba Inu, which we did a video on earlier, burn the cryptos to ensure that the price increases. In fact, Binance also was doing that. Burn mechanism, it has been proven that burn mechanism is not a great way to increase price. In fact, it's not the right way at all. Why create that token if you wanted to ultimately burn it? Right? So any burn mechanism to hold up price is a bit concern. That's a very shady move. I'm very, very concerned about that. The next thing is the roadmap for 2023 and beyond. Right? On their white paper, their roadmap is pretty much limited to 2022. And even on websites like Messari, which track all this very closely, the roadmap pretty much stops at 2020. So what is the roadmap for 2023 and beyond? That is of concern for me, because as a growing project, you need to keep adding things and you need to keep everybody updated about what you're doing. So a very well-defined roadmap for the next 2 years at least is a bare minimum for any crypto project at this stage. And I don't see that. That's my concern. The last one is the KYC mandatory. Right? While this is great from a regulatory standpoint, from a point of identifying who this person is and it's not the wrong kind of money coming in and so on, but from purely demand and supply perspective, from a pure perspective of understanding price of a token or demand for the utility of this app, KYC itself is a huge drop, because most people are moving towards, especially the whale users are moving towards DeFi tokens. Right, where you absolutely need no KYC. So this will cause a lot of people to stay away. This will dampen the demand quite a bit. Right, so that's another concern for me. Then let's look at the risks. It's a crowded space. Right, you have players like FTX. They're literally gorillas that might just eat you for breakfast. So that's a big risk. Then the second risk is the custodial crypto service. Right, they are holding your crypto. This is a big risk, because while you can trust maybe a Coinbase or a Binance or an FTX because they're so huge and they might have spent a lot of money securing their servers, even then you never know what would happen. Right? Just today, the Binance blockchain got hacked. I've not read much about it yet, but from what I hear, the Binance blockchain bridge, I believe, was hacked. So something as big as that getting hacked itself is a concern, and a small exchange like this, anything could happen. We saw that right from the time of Mt. Gox, many exchanges have been hacked. So any custodial services, that's a bit of a concern, as well as the fact that if you're giving custody of your assets to someone else, you have no control over it. right? So that is a big risk. Even if it does not get hacked, it is possible for it to be misused. So that's one risk that I see. There are just about 50 cryptos that are listed. Right? If you go to the available assets section, you'll see that there's just about 50 or 52 cryptos that are listed, right? And they are taking a vote for the next listing candidates, like very basic ones like Maker, right? Maker is something that almost every exchange is like mandatorily supposed to have, right? Or Tezos or Stellar, right? Or even Zilliqa for that matter. We did a video on that recently. If they're still considering adding some of these and they're still in double digits, that's like they are far behind all other exchanges, right? So it's not only fact that it's a crowded space. You also have very less cryptos listed, and for you to list every new crypto, you are spending a lot of money. You're spending a lot of resources to get that listed. However, there is one conflicting information that they are saying that they connect, the smart engine connects with a lot of other apps to get you the best prices. Well, that it doesn't really make sense. If they are already connecting with Binance and so on, then they should be able to make available more cryptos much faster instead of taking a vote every time. So that is a bit of a concern for me. And the last one is that CHSB is not traded on any major exchange except probably Huobi. This is a big concern because usually when like a Binance or an FTX or a Coinbase does list something, they do a bit of due diligence. I'm not saying that, like, of course Dogecoin is listed there and so many others are listed there, but there is a bit of due diligence. There is a bit of a green flag when a token is listed on a major exchange, and CHSB is not listed on any major exchange, and that's another risk that I definitely see. Now this could be a double-edged sword. If it is not listed and you buy in, and then it does get listed at some point in time, then you can see the value of the price of this token rise up very sharply, and you could benefit from it. Whether there is a plan to list it or not, I'm not really sure. That's something that you need to be updated about. If there is a plan, then it's probably a good time to buy. So what should you really be doing? Well, first one is, of course, do your own research, right? Do not concentrate your assets here, because this is, like I said, custodial. They hold your assets. So don't put all your money in one basket, right? As simple as that. Don't concentrate your assets here. If you're thinking of using this, use it, but don't put everything here. Consider the staking. If you are buying CHSB, then consider staking, because their returns are like almost 17% or more than 17% a year. That's enormous. So do consider staking. And lastly, if you like this video, tell your friends about it. Stay tuned for more updates and subscribe to the channel. Welcome to the Wave Crypto Club.